This guy is just adorable.
We're going to the Reptile Expo in Columbus, Ohio. This year, it's doubled in size, so who knows what we'll find.
What's in the bag? Probably one of the best animals to get someone who is afraid of snakes to be not afraid of snakes.
Are these Hoyas?
Oh yeah, probably.
That's really pretty.
I kind of like that one.
Yeah? Yeah, I'm sure you do.
Well, yeah. Oh, that's a big one. You would need like a huge enclosure. I like the pastels.
Yeah?
Also little tiny ones.
Wow. Look at that.
Oh wait, those are newts.
Look at that white, yellow, and black one.
Yeah. That's not too bad for Redfoot, right?
No?
Smaller looking ones. Like
Oh, yeah.
similar.
You like this?
Yeah. These chameleons aren't very expensive.
Does it say Jackson's?
Is that one you wanted?
Yeah, dude, look at that. Look at that guy.
There's a smaller Jackson. Who's
Rainbow.
Mojave brings out the dark and the Mojave when you mix it with the red.
Look at that cat food. That's really neat. We've been thinking about it for a long time. There aren't many small ones here.
I sent you a receipt.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, have a good day.
What's in the bag? It's not this. That's
Yeah,
not.
that's-
That's somebody else's. There's a mystery in the bag. Noodle bag, noodle bag. What's in the noodle bag? We're back from the reptile show, and I am so excited to show you guys what we got. It's a little different than the stuff that we normally do on the channel. Normally, as in like, there's like 15 videos in the channel, but of those few videos that I have on the channel, most of them are aquarium and fish related. It's actually been a few weeks since the reptile show. I have just been trying to work out this whole YouTube thing along with my day job, trying to get this all to work. Motivation, making videos, and just having the drive to do extra on top of my day job. And so it's taken a minute to get this video out, but I am really excited to show you guys what we bought at the reptile show. In some previous videos you might have seen, we have snakes, a savanna monitor, box turtle, a few things like that. But in addition to the food that we mainly went there to buy, we also found a couple other things. 3 things. One, we didn't expect to buy, and the 2 other things I kind of hoped to buy, or if anyone would even have the ones that we wanted. Instead of me just talking, why don't I go grab the things that we bought to show you guys.
That's what we've been waiting for!
In terms of ball pythons, the largest, or the only python I've ever owned is a ball python, and we have one right now that is also a male ball python. This is just a normal coloration that you'd find in the wild if you saw a ball python in the wild. If you're not into snakes,
That's a damn shame.
this channel, hopefully, will help get you into snakes, because this is a window into my life, and I want this channel to really explore my interests and document my life. And so I hope you guys can find interest in some of the things that I find interest in. One of the things I've wanted for a long time is a different color morph of ball python. And years ago, when certain rare colorations of specific snakes, which is basically just a color morph as a gene expression that shows itself in what the snake looks like, or any reptile, any animal, to be honest. A color morph is just a variation of the wild type. So a normal ball python will look like this, and the one that we found for an outrageously good price, honestly, is a banana ball python. Well, they're obviously very beautiful. They resemble a banana, as you can see from the coloration. They have these little black spots that as they age get more prominent, and they'll get more of them. But the difference between this and a wild variety is obviously the yellow coloration. It's not an albino, but it just lacks a lot of the brown dark pigments. And so what is even more interesting about the snake is that this is a naturally occurring color mutation that can be found in the wild occasionally, rarely, because something like this vibrant, would not survive in the wild. So if a snake like this came out of the egg looking this bright, it wouldn't last that long. Something's definitely going to eat it. Most animals rely on camouflage to blend in, and so something this striking is not going to last very long. The first clutch of banana ball pythons were bred in captivity in 2003, and basically all banana ball pythons in captivity today can be traced back to that one specific lineage, that one male ball python. No one had really seen this coloration of snake before, and so at the time, these snakes were selling for $10,000+ up to $20,000 for the first individuals, and it just blows my mind that today the popularity of the snake has become so great, and so many people have this specific coloration of snake that it was only $100. But compared to other color mutations and color morphs of ball pythons, that is an outrageously low price when you can go to any big chain pet store and pay easily $120 for a wild type reptile. And you have incredible colorations coming from really great breeders. Some of the morphs that have been out for a long time, they're able to charge less. And I think it's great that some breeders are able to charge a really reasonable price for certain snakes to get people interested in the hobby, sort of act as like a gateway drug, because someone goes to a reptile show and sees a regular wild type ball python for $25. They're very common. They shouldn't be charging $125 at pet stores. I think this guy is just over a year old. And this is one of the most placid animals that I've ever seen. I mean, this snake is extremely calm. Probably one of the best animals to get someone who is afraid of snakes to be not afraid of snakes. I'll definitely show you guys more feedings and more interaction with my other reptiles. I think this is an awesome addition to the channel. We definitely need to come up with a name for this. I've got a few ideas, but for this snake, we definitely need an interesting name. So if you guys have any interesting names for a banana ball python, that would be great. The next two animals that I'm gonna show you guys are actually something that I had been wanting for a while.
I don't need it.
It was going to be a little challenging to exactly figure out where to keep them because they will need an outdoor enclosure, at least something significantly large to be indoors when they are indoors, which is going to carry me into larger species of tortoise like the giant tortoises, Aldabra and Galapagos, in the future.
Are you on drugs or alcohol?
No, sir.
You take drugs or alcohol?
What is drugs?
But the two animals that we bought are a species of tortoise, and we were looking for a few different species of tortoise at the reptile show. One of the species that I was looking for but didn't end up finding was a Western Hermann's tortoise, and those are a lot less common, it seems, than the Eastern Hermann's. They look different, they grow to different sizes. The Western Hermann's they have a more interesting and more brightly colored shell. They don't grow to quite as large a size as the Eastern, but they're also a bit more expensive, but I also didn't see any there. So one of the other tortoises that we were looking at were Redfoot tortoises. In terms of size, they aren't big right now, but they will grow to be about upwards of 13 to 14 inches for a male, and on the smaller side, females grow to an average of 11 to 12 inches.
Oh, they're eating already.
Yeah.
They're hungry. Babies.
Oh my gosh.
But let me grab them to show you exactly what they look like and how small they are right now. I'm just gonna grab one at a time because one of them is eating. Kind of hoping that we have a male and a female, but this guy is just adorable. I'm not gonna have this guy out too long because he's probably gonna get a little uncomfortable. Look at this little guy. This one is eating extremely well for me. The other one is a little bit smaller. They're between 3 and 4 months old. This one's probably about 4 to 5 months old right now. I give them a little soak to make sure they're fully hydrated, and they get their lettuce and their grasses and their vegetables, some fruits, occasional protein, These guys are literally the cutest things I have seen, I think maybe ever. And I'm really super excited to this summer get them outdoors into the sunlight. They have a UV bulb in their enclosure right now, but nothing compares to the sunlight they will receive outside. And so we'll have them in an enclosed, something outside that no critters can get in there and hurt them. Beautiful coloration, the red on the legs. Really interesting tortoises, and I'm trying my absolute best to give them the best possible environment as they grow up so that their shells form correctly with the proper humidity, proper diet. They will form very smooth shells. Sometimes you'll get a tortoise that is very, the shell is very pyramid shaped. Scutes will actually raise up, and if they're constantly dehydrated, not enough humidity, the wrong kind of food, lack of sunlight, they will not have smooth shells, which is what really you're looking for. And even in the wild, they won't have perfectly smooth shells. That's really the goal. It's also really heavy. You want to have a healthy tortoise, and that means that they are heavy. Heavier than they look. They're supposed to be heavier than they look. So I'm gonna go grab the female. This guy's probably like ready to be done. I know I'm calling this one the female, and I really have no idea. You really can't tell when they're this young. This one is the smaller of the two, and as you can see, she has some leaves on her face because she was in the middle of eating. This one did put on a little bit of weight once I got her, and then she lost a few grams. But I'm monitoring their weight just so I have a good idea of how they're doing. Sometimes with tortoises, it's hard to tell how their health is because they don't really show signs of illness until sometimes it's too late. And you really want to be ahead of the curve when it comes to making sure these guys are doing well and eating. And if you start to see that they're losing weight, that's a good sign that you need to do something differently. But they are really doing terrific in the few weeks that I've had them. They're both very active, and I think they're going to grow into, well, they're already beautiful, but they're going to grow into really amazing adults that we're going to have in an outdoor enclosure, maybe with more. It's way too early to be like, oh yeah, we're going to breed them, and these are not from the same clutch. These are different parents. So cool. Let me show you guys their enclosure. I just set this one down and she went right back to eating. This guy's taking a bath, having a drink. It's important for these guys to have enough water, and so when they're this young, they really need soaked almost every single day. When I put them in their bath to soak, they go to drink instantly, and they can also absorb water through their shell and through their skin. And of course, they get moisture through their diet. A lot of the stuff that they eat has a lot of moisture. They're going to get a lot of vegetables, dark leafy greens, some fruits, and occasional protein. And really, right now, since they're so small, their enclosure doesn't have to be very big, just one, but I have all this sphagnum moss over here that keeps the place humid, and they just burrow in here, and they like to hide into the stuff. I also have a little hide right here that they can hide in. They usually do, but we also have some more sphagnum moss on this side. But really, this whole thing, they just go and nest in there. It keeps them nice and humid, and this little microclimate that they can find. Other than that, really, I've got actually 2 thermometers just so I can make sure the temperature and humidity is right. This lid's been off for a second, so it's not going to be accurate, but the basking spot is anywhere between 85 and 90 degrees. The humidity stays around 75 to 80% on the hot side, which is going to be where the most of the humidity is. So this is where we are keeping these guys for the next probably few weeks until we can get them an outdoor enclosure, which would be set up almost identical to this with some hiding spots and some spots so they can get some natural sunlight and also be able to get away from the sunlight if they need to, if it's too hot. That is what we have for their enclosure. And over here is where we're going to put the ball python in this 20-gallon tank. We've just had the ball python in this temporary enclosure since we got back from the reptile show. So we're gonna get this guy set up in his new tank, and then we'll eventually upgrade it along with the other snakes that we have on our snake rack. We'll eventually get an upgrade, and we're gonna be doing some kind of bioactive setup where there's sort of a substrate system, maybe some live plants, and also that is very beneficial for natural processes to help break down waste and stuff in between major cleaning, so everything just stays nice and fresh. Right now, the way it is, if you feed these snakes and they go to the bathroom and you don't change their bedding in time, it does start to smell. So you really have to stay up on cleanings if you're going to have reptiles. Whereas in this case, with bioactive enclosures, like sort of what we can see in here, we have some isopods, some springtails, and what these things do is they help break down waste. If your enclosure has enough going on, they won't do anything negative to the animals in there, like lizards or snakes or anything like that. They basically just eat all of the waste. If there's any plant debris decaying, springtails eat mold. They really help to break down all of the stuff that builds up in reptile enclosures that you really just don't want. One of the biggest things, I think, is springtails. If you put nothing in your bioactive reptile enclosure but springtails, which are these little white things walking around, you can tell they're springtails because if you touch them or if you disturb them, well, I guess they're not really disturbed right now. They jump, they spring. If they don't jump, then they're probably some kind of mites. And I've noticed these in my reptile enclosures before, and I thought they were mites. They are not mites. They can actually be preyed on by predatory mites, but they themselves are not mites. They only consume mold, decaying matter, and poop. And these are zebra isopods, Armadillidium maculatum, if you're curious. These guys are doing something suspicious. These 4, wow, orgy, what the heck? We'll leave these guys alone. But yeah, so something in the future we're gonna be doing is a bioactive setup for our reptiles. It'll be much easier to keep clean enclosures if they are bioactive. So we're gonna do that in the future. This is the hognose, in case you guys want to see a hognose snake. As you can see, their little hog nose. Love the snake. So let's get the ball python into its new enclosure. So the first thing we're gonna do is remove the top bedding. This is Aspen snake bedding. This is like the biggest bag they sell at the reptile show. This was $18. Nice thing about this stuff is it's not too dusty. It's pretty easy to clean as well. The poop sort of just stays in little clumps wherever it falls. Lay this all out. Nice. I will have to get some bigger hides. This is the only naturalistic looking hide that I have, other than the one that's in the box turtle enclosure, but this is just a little baby one. We need one almost that size. And don't worry, I'm not taking yours. I brought you flowers. Okay, anyway, so this is way too small. Unfortunately, this tank is not gonna look magnificent for this video, but that's not really what this video was for. It's not setting up the best looking ball python enclosure with the tiniest water bowl in existence. Just fill that up the rest of the way. And the last step, I guess, for now, is just moving this hide over with our snake inside. Lou! He's in there. Just put him in somewhere, doesn't really matter where. They tend to push their hides around. There he is. And then we really don't need a fake plant in here. Sometimes fake plants are good in with reptile enclosures because they can use the abrasive surfaces on the plants to help with shedding. Unlike humans that shed a little bit of their skin at a time, reptiles shed all of their skin at once, and so when they need to get it off, sometimes they need something to rub up against, and things like fake plants, rough water bowls and everything like that, they can use to start the process of shedding and help to pull it off. This will do for the next couple weeks. Oh, look, there he is. He's like, where did you take me? And in the near future, we can do a feeding video for the people who are into reptiles and who are into watching reptile feedings. Some of these snakes get pretty big rats. It's always a fun thing to watch reptiles eat. Oh, he's going back in. We're gonna get a heat light up here so he can be nice and warm. That's just about it for this video. Before I go, I do wanna say thank you so much for sticking with me for the last like 28 days of no videos. I was on a streak for a while, putting out content, which is pretty good. And my goal is to have videos for you every single week. Videos, shorts, all kinds of content. My honest goal is to have this be like a full-time job. So what am I trying to say? Because I am absolutely not slowing down on this content. If you guys like this content, please drop a like. It definitely helps out the channel. And the faster we get to 1,000 subscribers and beyond, the easier it'll be for me to transition to making this my full-time thing. So again, thank you guys so much for watching and sticking around. As I figure this YouTube thing out, we're in it together and you guys are watching this channel evolve just like I am as I'm figuring out exactly what I want this channel to be. We're gonna keep up with the fish there's a rooster right outside the door. We're obviously gonna keep up with the fish content, the saltwater and freshwater. That's not going anywhere, but we're gonna have plenty of other things to add to the channel like reptiles, amphibians, outside ponds, and maybe other crazy animals as well. I'm as excited about this channel as you guys hopefully are with all of the projects that I've got coming up for you guys. So I really enjoyed showing you guys the reptile show, what we brought back from the reptile show. I know we'll go back again if you like this. Drop a like if you did. Thanks for watching. You guys are the best. I'll catch you in the next video.